What is the creepiest thing that has ever happened to you? I was walking in the dark on a side street in Austin, Texas. A homeless woman walked up behind me. I didn't see her coming and started whispering in a very low voice. I want to scratch your back. I want to scratch your back. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And then suddenly touched the back of my neck. I almost threw myself into traffic to get away from her. Jeez, what do you even say to that? Nah fam, thanks though. Yikes. Happened while I was with my mom. My mom owns a bunch of rental properties. Her first ever rental was to a nice Puerto Rican man who was looking to move into town. Mom and I are setting up the paperwork and the apartment for him. A week goes by where we haven't heard from him. Then he suddenly starts contacting us about the apartment, but never wanted to meet up. He asks us to stop by one day to check things out, which was really odd. Turns someone had broken into the place. Mom makes me stay in the car and goes inside to check it out. It was midday when we got there, so she felt safe enough to go inside. A few days later, she sees our renter's face on the news. He was shot and killed 2 to 3 weeks prior and was accused of being a drug trafficker. The guy contacting my mom over the last week about the apartment, who would not meet up with us but wanted us to go check the place out, was not the renter. That's really creepy. Did the police figure out what happened? I think he was killed in a bad deal, and the guys who killed the renter thought my mom was in on it, which is why they were contacting her. I suspect that they tried to lure her somewhere, which is why they asked her to check out the apartment. My boyfriend had to move out of our apartment because he started a new job 4 hours away, so I stayed there alone for my last semester at school. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal at all until my sketchy alcoholic neighbor on the first floor caught wind of me being alone. He then started following me in and out of the building, constantly knocking on my door to talk, asking me out, etc. I would sit out on these shared porches to relax, and he would corner me out there so I didn't sit on my porch anymore. He eventually started following me to class or bars when I walked downtown, and would start pounding on my door at midnight, screaming at me about going out with friends. He would constantly lurk in the hallway that faced my bedroom and sing to me. One night he came up and yelled at me in front of a friend of mine and went to grab me by my throat, and my friend called the police. They didn't do anything because my neighbor was the town drunk jester, would never hurt anyone, etc. Bulless. My landlord wasn't even available to talk until a month after it got bad. He'd never hurt a fly. He's just a drunk. Flawless logic, really. It was pretty early in the morning and I heard some weird noise downstairs. My wife was out of town with her mom, so just me and the cats in the house. And they were both on the bed with me and also looked kinda freaked out. So I get up slowly and hear another loud crash glass breaking type of noise. I didn't own a gun or anything at the time, so I was looking around for some sort of weapon, which ended up being this brass vase thing I kept change in. I grabbed that and creeped downstairs, slightly freaking out. More noises. Then a meh noise. Turns out I left the back door wide open and my goat wandered into the kitchen and shit everywhere and broke a shelf. I yelled at the goat and he went back outside. We've all been there, man. I was walking home from work one night and I felt like someone was following me. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I walked a little faster. I could definitely hear someone or something. I stop and say out loud, "It feels like someone wants to sell me something." I turned around, but no one was there. I'm sure they heard me though. I told you he was onto us. Finally, my time to shine. I was on the subway and this girl seated behind me was having this boring, inane conversation. Yeah, my day was just blah, yeah well. Suddenly the conversation takes a turn. She starts describing me to her friend on the phone, in earshot of me. Yeah, he's sitting in front of me. He's cutish. Yeah, haha. Oh, he's turning around. I look at this girl and I realize she doesn't have a phone. No earbuds, no headset, she's talking to herself. She looks me dead on in the eyes and says, "He's looking at me now. Yeah, he's cute, but I bet he doesn't like me. I wonder if he'll talk to me." I got off the next stop and took the intervening 10 minutes wait to stop the poop from evacuating straight out of my backside. She was hitting on you. This one weirded me out a bit. A few years ago, I woke up to 2 text messages from my girlfriend and a friend of mine. Both asked if I was alright. Apparently, they both had a dream that I had been struck by a red truck at an intersection I routinely took. The two of them weren't close and I had no reason to suspect that they were playing a prank. It was just really spooky that they both had the same dream, the same night, with the same details. Edit a word. In high school, I was applying for a job in a supermarket. I had just come from school and was still wearing my uniform. The counter to apply was a little high for me, so I had to stand on my toes. Anyways, after being there for for about 5 minutes, a woman taps me on the shoulder and says, "Not sure how to tell you this, but I wouldn't feel right not saying anything. That man just took a photo under your skirt." I looked and there was this dude speed walking to the subway entrance. I couldn't catch up, but even if I did, what would I have done? That was weird. Went to a bar about 20 minutes from my apartment in Brooklyn. Because of construction and because I didn't know the way home, I had lived there for about a month, it took me some time to get home. When I got there, I noticed I had a Facebook message from someone I didn't know. Checked it and it was some guy saying, "Nice apartment, can I come in?" I looked outside and there was some guy who had followed me home. I hadn't given my friends my new address yet, and he may have gotten my Facebook from a friend at the bar. I bolted the door and blocked him. The fact that he followed me and just randomly texted me rather than talk to me at the bar was unnerving. Edit. Because I keep getting asked, I'm a female. I was just browsing this thread when I remembered the most creepy thing ever, with photographic proof. I was catching the last train back from London and had about an hour to kill at a station where I needed to change. It was late at night, I was on my own, and the station didn't have many people in it. I decided that this was a great time to have a little wander around the platforms, stretch my legs a tad, and enjoy the wait. I ended up walking down a platform with no more scheduled journeys for the night, so naturally, there were very few of us there. Actually, there were just two of us, me and a little girl. It's quite unusual to see a little girl standing on her own in the dead of night. And I'm not sure if I did the right thing or not, but I stopped walking, parked myself on a bench about 20 meters away, and decided to subtly keep an eye on her to make sure she was okay. At first, I assumed her mother had probably gone to the toilet or something and asked her to stand in the same place until her return. But children shouldn't be on their own like that. So I sat there and decided to be a temporary guardian for her. This girl was standing down the platform and appeared to be about 10 years old or so, in her school uniform. From what I could tell, she was Asian, and seemed to be pretty confident standing where she was. Very, very still. Because after 5 minutes passed, this little girl was still standing in exactly the same position that she was before. I mean, I hadn't seen her move an inch. I sat there on the bench thinking about what could have happened. Had her mother told her to stand there and then abandoned her? Had she been separated from her carer? Maybe I should wait a bit longer. And she just stood there in the same position. Right arm clutched to her body, staring directly at me. 10 minutes passed. 15. It was winter and the platforms were cold. This little girl must have been absolutely freezing, but she was just standing there, staring at me. I could feel her eyes burning into my soul. Was she angry? Was I hallucinating? I considered going to find help, but then a cleaner walked past her. He didn't even look at her. He just swept past and skipped on his merry way. He wouldn't just let a child stand there, right? Was she a ghost? If I got up to get help, then I would have to take my eyes off the girl. And then what if she ran away? What if some creep snatched her? No, her safety was important. 20 minutes. It was getting ridiculous. This poor little girl had been abandoned or something. I decided that when 25 minutes passed, if nothing had happened, I'd hop up and go ask her if she was okay. I don't know why I didn't do so sooner, but I was hoping her parents would come collect her or something. As long as I kept a lookout for the girl, everything would be okay. 22 minutes passed, and she was still standing there, staring at me from a distance. I needed to take a picture and send it to someone to make sure I wasn't seeing things, like a sleepy hallucination or a psychotic break or something, because this apparently invisible ghost demon child is just standing there casually glaring in my direction. I shit you not, here's what came out on my phone's camera. I sent it to my boyfriend at the time for confirmation. No, I wasn't seeing things. I wasn't dreaming. I needed to go help her. And 25 minutes later, she was still stood there, dead still, staring at me, in the freezing cold, in the dead of night, just me and her, here on this dark and creepy platform. I stood up and tentatively walked towards her. I got a bit closer, and she stood there, remaining still. Now, as I got closer, it was probably the most oh my god moment I've ever experienced. I saw her face, the shadows hiding it under the dim station light. It looked half melted, like she had no real eyes. My heart was pumping faster and faster and faster. I couldn't stop now. This poor little girl was probably a victim of a horrific accident and definitely not a demon. Just because she stood so still for so long in the cold weather and stared at me, well, I guess maybe she didn't stare at me. She didn't have eyes. Wait, what if she's actually a ghost? Is this my last moment on this planet? No, don't be stupid. She's just a poor little girl. I was scared. I admit. But I knew that this girl with the melted face needed someone's help. I needed to go ask her if she's okay. Besides, what kind of person would I be if I just left her there? And as I got closer, it just became more clear. She was deformed, abandoned, a poor little girl. But I couldn't help be scared. But I powered through. I walked up close to her, opened my mouth to ask her something, trembling, and I couldn't believe what I saw. She was made of Lego. She was a goddamn art installation made of Lego. Just standing there, being creepy, staring at people, and being made of Lego. Dude, that looks creepy as hell even up close. Why the F would they put that there? Thanks a lot for watching. In the comments under the video, write about the creepiest thing that has ever happened to you, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you later.